Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namni Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Today is the most auspicious occasion of Bhadra Purnima. Bhadra Purnima has been glorified in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that if someone gives a charity of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam today, then their ticket to Goloka Vrindavan is guaranteed. And this is a verse in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So if devotees wish to gift Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to others, distribute Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam today, or if not personally possible, at least sponsor a copy for someone, sponsor a set for someone in your village or in your family or in somebody's family. It's a very auspicious day to do. So we just wanted to start with that announcement. So if anybody is interested, ISKCON Atlanta has sets of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and we can ship it to your place wherever you are. Starting with today's discussion, today is day one of our Katha. We will be speaking on the most wonderful, glorious text of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam for the next 30 days. I'm not saying so much on the 30 because I don't know whether it's going to be 30 or 40, but I will try to keep it 30 because I know devotees are planning to go to Vrindavan and Navadvip during the start of Kartik Mas. And many devotees have already planned out their travel, especially because last two Kartiks have been washed away from our calendar because of COVID pandemic. So this year, many devotees in hundreds and thousands are excited to visit the Dham during that 1 month. So I don't want to disrupt the schedule. So we will try, again, I'm using the word try, to get a proper disciplined approach for this and maybe wrap up the Katha in 30 days. As we know, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is unlimited. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hai Andhakar Jaha Krishna Taha Nair Mayar Adhikar. That Krishna is like the sun. And wherever there is sun, there is no darkness. So similarly, wherever there is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, there is no darkness, there is no ignorance, there's no laziness. It's just over-increasing enthusiasm from all of our side. So if by a few splash of enthusiasm it goes a little overboard, I hope all of you will forgive us. That's the first disclaimer I want to start off with. I also want to express my gratitude to the management of the ISKCON Atlanta Temple for kindly organizing this and engaging me in the service of the Vaishnavas. I really want to thank all of you for kindly participating and joining in, and heartfelt gratitude to our back-end team headed by Jaikumar Prabhu, Ajinkya Prabhu, and Sadananda Ramachandra Prabhu, and so many other Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are working round the clock under the leadership of our congregation director, His Grace Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, and our temple president, His Grace Vedasar Prabhu, keeping Radha Madan Mohan, Gaur Nitai, and Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, and Srila Prabhupada as the center of our attention, attraction, and enthusiasm. With that, as the beginning of day one, let us begin. Today, we are going to discuss what is called as the Bhagavat Mahima or Bhagavat Mahima, where we will hear beautiful, wonderful verses from the Shastra as to what do we actually gain by studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We have heard so much about Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We have Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, many of us, in our homes. And we may have had the chance and the fortune and the opportunity to hear, read, study, and contemplate on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. But somehow our minds are such that when they are given the fruit that we will receive at the end of the whole effort, then we get more enthusiastic, right? When we are told, what do I gain by circumambulating Tulsi? Oh, you get Da, 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 da. Then the enthusiasm to circumambulate Tulsi goes even higher. What do I gain by chanting the holy name? What do I gain by worshipping a deity? What do I gain by taking Diksha? The fundamental question is, what's in it for me? Right? What am I going to gain out of the whole endeavor? So let us begin with this fundamental question and an attempt to answer that. What do I gain by studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? What do I gain by remembering, reading, hearing, studying, contemplating on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? So these are very beautiful, wonderful verses in Sanskrit, and we will be hearing them, and also I will try my bit to contemplate and at the same time deliberate a few words on that. What is the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? That's the first question. So, Granthoštādasha sahasro dvadasha skanda sammitah parikshit shukha samvadaha shrunu bhagavatam chatat. What is this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Grantha ashtādasha sahasra. The word sahasra means 1,000, ashta means 8, and dasha means 10. So 8 plus 10 is 18, and sahasra is 1,000. So 18,000 verses are put together in this grantha, and dvadasha skanda sammitah. And it is beautifully, wonderfully presented through 12 volumes or 12 cantos. We know the word dvadasha. Dva means 2 and dasha means 10. 2 plus 10 is 12. Dvadasha skandha. Skandha means cantos. जैसे हिंदी में भी कहते हैं पहला स्कंद, दशम स्कंद. Skand word means volume or canto. So this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which has 18,000 verses in Sanskrit, divided and presented over 12 cantos, is a conversation, samvadaha. Between whom? Parikshit Shuka Samvadaha. It is a conversation between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadev Goswami. As we know, Parikshit Maharaj, a very exalted descendant of the Pandavas, who was saved in the womb by Krishna himself. Can we imagine? Parikshit Maharaj is so great that when we speak about his birth, we speak less about him and more about Krishna. When we speak about our birth, what is so glorious about it? What Krishna Katha will come out of it anyway? But for Parikshit Maharaj, when we have to speak about his birth, we will speak less about Parikshit and more about how gloriously, heroically, he was saved in the womb of his mother by Sri Hari himself. So there is Krishna Katha right then and there in his appearance. And whenever and wherever people speak about the disappearance of Parikshit Maharaj, with that 7 days left, they will speak less about Parikshit and more about Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So Parikshit Maharaj is so great, whether his appearance or whether his disappearance, it's less of him and more about Krishna. And what to speak about the time between his appearance and disappearance, the life that he led because of his glorious connection to the Pandavas and his devotional life. Less is spoken about him and more about his devotion. So that is the listener, the primary listener. There are many other listeners, but he's the primary listener. And the speaker of this whole text is Shukadev Goswami, the celebrated son of Vyasadeva himself, who is, Vyasadeva is the disciple of Narada Muni, who is the disciple of Brahma, and Brahma appeared from the Supreme Lord himself. So Shukadev Goswami is so great that 5-6 generations in his parampara before him, you reach the Supreme Lord himself. So whether it is the speaker, or whether it's the listener, or whether it's the place on the banks of the Ganga, or whether it's the audience, which has great personalities like Vyasadeva and Parashara Muni and so many, and Lord Parshuram himself. So many of them are sitting. Narad Muni himself. So whether it's the place, the assembly, the speaker, or the listener, everything is so glorious and purifying. So therefore, Shrunu Bhagavatam cha tat. That is the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam that we should all hear. Now, Atha te varnyate asmabhihi mahima shukha shastrajaha. Now I will be speaking. The Shastra says, Maya varnyate. By me this will be described. What? Mahima. What Mahima? What glories? Shukha shastrajaha. the glory that appears from the conversation of Shukha and Parikshit. As the Shukadev Goswami magnum opus of the great scripture Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the glories is as follows, that yasya shravana matrena muktihi karatale sthita, that liberation, which is such a rare commodity. Now think about it. When we have stomach pain, or when we have toothache, or whether we have headache, or whether we have some problem in our digestion or our knees, etc., it's such a great relief to be free from that pain, is it not? Like when someone has lower back pain, or whether someone has shoulder pain, neck pain, someone has pain in their knees, whether someone has, let's say, pain in their tooth in the middle of the night, it's excruciating pain, but it's great relief, great sense of relief when that pain is removed. So mukti or liberation is certainly very, very, very joy producing, because it's not just liberation from the pain of the tooth. Think about liberation from repeated birth and death. Death is considered to be the greatest pain. Birth is painful, old age is painful, disease is painful. And what is mukti? Mukti is freedom from all of these sources of misery. Not just toothache or stomachache or headache, just not getting material bodies, which by default brings in all these pains. When we have a material body, automatically it brings in so many pains. Like sometimes you can have rashes on the skin, or you can have dandruff on the head, or you can lose your hair, or you can have hair going white or gray, or you can have problems in vision, you can have problems in the ear, we can have so many problems, right? There are those who have the problem of not getting sleep, insomnia, and there are those who have problems of oversleeping. Talking about myself, it's a problem to even hear the alarm clock properly. So the material body comes with its own set of problems, and getting free from those problems is a great opportunity of joy. So mukti is certainly very joy producing. However, for devotees, it is insignificant. Why? Because mukti is again self-centric. You're thinking about yourself. I want joy, I don't want suffering. Sukhaya, dukkha mokshaya. What is mukti? Sukhaya. Oh, I want joy. And dukkha mokshaya. I don't want sorrow. So it's still I-centric. That is mukti. Not all aspects of mukti, just the concept of saying that I want to be free from problems. But where is Krishna there? Diyamanam na grihnanti vina mat sevanam jana. Kapila Muni has described in the 3rd canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, my devotees don't pick anything. They don't take any choice if it takes them away from serving me. The devotees are always devoted to Krishna. They are not self-conscious, they are Krishna-conscious. So, therefore many times we hear, oh, mukti is very insignificant, bhakti is great, which is the devotion, the ecstasy of serving Krishna is so much more that it eclipses the joy of mukti or liberation. But however, on its own, the joy of liberation is certainly very intoxicating, because you get free from all your problems. No more corona, no more financial problems, no more family problems, no more personal problems, no more physical problems, no more mental problems, no more social problems. In short, no more problems. So that mukti is karatale sthita, is present, is existing on the tip of the fingers or on the edge of one's palms. When the palms are holding Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, yasya shravana matrena mukti karatale sthita. If someone is reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and reading and hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that same palm that we are using to study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, mukti resides there. And she's begging the devotee, please accept me. And the devotee says, okay, you stand outside the door. I'm not waiting for mukti. I'm waiting for bhakti. I'm waiting for amala bhakti, which means akhandita bhakti. Pure, undeviated, uninterrupted, unconditional. Pure, non-mixed, unalloyed sentiments of love for Krishna. So, athate varnyate asmabhihi Mahima Shukha Shastra Jaha Yasya Shravana Matrena Mukti Karatale Sthita. Just by hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Mukti resides in the same palm that we are using. Now the question is, what happens if someone doesn't study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? And what happens when one studies Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Both these questions come. So let's see what happens when one doesn't study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Yeah? Tavat samsara chakresmin bhramate jnanatah puman yavat karnagata nasti shukha shastra kathakshanam. Very sweet verses, right? All of them composed in simple Sanskrit, Anushtup Chanda, like the verses, most verses of Bhagavad Gita. So in Sanskrit, yavat tavat, jab tak ye na ho, tab tak wo nahi hoga. You know, that kind of context. Till the time this is not achieved, till that time that is not achieved. You know, that kind of clause that we get in. So, yavat, till then, till the point, karana gata nasti, shukha shastra kathakshanam, till the point in our life when we don't have any inclination or time to let Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam enter our ear holes. Till then, samsara chakresmin bhramate ajnanatah puman. A living entity completely ignorant of where to go, how to go, which path to form, out of complete ignorance, keeps transmigrating and moving from one body to another, from one living space to another, from one species to another, from one planetary space to another planetary territory, and just keeps moving from one womb to another. Till the time one doesn't hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, transmigration and reincarnation is guaranteed according to Vyasadeva. So tavad, see, the words are very simple. Tavad samsara chakresmin, asmin samsara chakre, in this wheel of repeated birth and death, bhramate, wandering is compulsory. Taking rebirth is compulsory. And how? Ajnanataha puman, in a state of complete ignorance. Till when? Till when will this cycle continue? Yavat karana gata nasti, shukha shastra katha kshanam. Kshanam, just even little bit. Even little bit with respect to time or with respect to content. Maybe one verse a day, or maybe at least 10 minutes a day. Either with respect to time or with respect to content. Till the time we don't let our ear holes be filled with the Krishna Katha presented in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, till then there is no question of developing love for God. And till the time there is no love for Krishna, our service will not be heartfelt. Until the time our desire to serve is not heartfelt, we don't serve or don't want to serve Krishna, well, then we have to serve someone, maybe our bodies, maybe our people around, and depending on where we serve, our next body is guaranteed. There are those who serve communities. Wonderful, we are not against service. Everything is good till the time it is God-centric. If Krishna is served and everyone else is served with that central focus that this person belongs to Krishna, therefore I must serve. Now this is perfect. But when we try to drive our energy in different directions of service without the connection to Krishna, then there'll be some bias. Oh, I will serve only the Indians. I will serve only the Australians. I will serve a certain ethnic community. I will serve only the male. I will serve only the female. Well, I will live my lives for the dogs. I will be an animal lover. You see? So you take sides with one species more than usual, and then you neglect everything else because you're seeing that community or that species to be the center of your attention. But if we keep Krishna as our center, then everything belongs to Krishna, all species belong to Krishna, everyone belongs to Krishna. So naturally our love and our spirit of service flows in all directions. And anyone and everyone we meet, because of that central focus, we will be actually able to serve them. Not just physically or emotionally, but as far as the concept of soul is concerned. We want them to be happy. Not physically or emotionally, that as well, but more than that, right? So by hearing Krishna Katha, we become God-centric, we become Krishna conscious, and with consciousness filled with Krishna, we can actually serve everyone, develop our service attitude, and the desire to go back home, back to Godhead. And then we go to Goloka Vrindavan. But till then, we are aimlessly wandering from one species to another. That is what Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam says. Okay, now what happens when we hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? That's the question. Sada sevya Śrīmad-Bhāgavati katha yasya shravana matrena hari chittam samashrayet. Harish chittam samashrayet. By hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, yasya shravana matrena harish chittam samashrayet. We are supposed to take shelter of Hari. We are supposed to have our chitta, our heart, our consciousness at the feet of Sri Hari. But however, when we hear Krishna Katha, what happens? That Hari gets attracted. Just like Hari's flute. Last year, we mentioned how it attracts the gopis. So similarly, hearing about Hari attracts even Hari. It attracts even Hari. So in this way, Sada Sevya. Once one devotee was asking, how many times should we hear and read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Is there a specific number? Once, twice, thrice? Because once that number has been met, then we can take it easy. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam goes back to the closet and I'm done for life. The answer given is Sada Sevya. Iska sevan sada sarvada karte rahe. Sada Sevya means constantly hear about Krishna, read about Krishna. And sevan or sevya, Sada Sevya, serve Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it has multiple meanings. Read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is one meaning. Hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is another meaning. Distribute Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is another meaning. Teaching Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is another meaning. Remembering the verses by memorizing those verses is one meaning. Singing the songs like we were singing last time, long time ago, in the Venu Geet, you remember? We were singing. Dhantaya Madriravala Haridasa Varya. Very nostalgic. We were singing these verses. So whether singing the songs or whether it's chanting the verses, whether it's speaking and preaching, whether it's distributing the books, whether it's reading, hearing, or even worshipping on the altar. Many temples have Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Just like on Gita, during Gita Marathon, especially on Mokshada Ekadashi, and in many temples, the whole month even, we have Bhagavad Gita as it is on the altar and we offer arati. So all of these are wonderful ways of studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and serving Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So Sada Sevya, one should constantly be absorbed in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And by doing that, Krishna himself gets attracted by the flute sound of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And he, just like the gopis dropped everything and came to Krishna, Krishna drops everything and comes to the living entity. Very sweet, very, very sweet. Hari vaset sada tatra yatra bhagavata jana gayanti bhakti bhavena harir namaiva kevalam. Nilkantha Goswami describes wherever there is loud proclamation of Krishna's glory in the form of Krishna's names, Krishna's forms, Krishna's pastimes, etc., which is all present in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, then Krishna, what does he do? Hari sada vaset tatra. He doesn't just come there, he resides there, he lives there. And not just for some time, sada, eternally. So Krishna lives in the heart of the living entity, in all of our hearts. But he can sleep there because the living entity is constantly waking Krishna up and asking for fulfillment. Give me this, oh God, give me that, oh Krishna, please fulfill this desire. So Krishna can take rest. And everyone likes to relax. After a point, they say, Acha, mujhe aaram karne do. Let me relax now. Don't bug me, don't ask me so much. So Krishna also, as Mahavishnu, he likes to be in Yoga Nidra. But what living entities do is they constantly wake him up and ask him for material things. So therefore, he is there in the heart of all living entities, but he manifests his full potency only in the heart of pure Vaishnavas. Because Tumara Hridaye Sada Govinda Vishram. In the heart of pure Vaishnavas, he can go to sleep because he knows they are so selfless, they don't ask him for anything. And because he is resting in the heart of the living entity, we know Vishnu in his sleep, he creates universes. So in the heart of the living entity, Krishna resides and he takes rest because he knows that the pure Vaishnava is not going to wake him up. And then he creates universes and universes of realizations and good fortune and blessings. And such a person, because Krishna is present in full potency, and Krishna is very heavy. Krishna carries the weight of millions of universes inside him, right? So God is very heavy. And when such heaviness of Krishna manifests in the heart of the living entity. In Sanskrit, the word for weight is guru. So such a person becomes guru. Because Krishna is present in full potency, in full weight. And also it means, because now Krishna's Shakti is flowing through the person, and the person is guru. Guru means weight. And weight means that person is not distracted, and he doesn't fly away by the breeze of temptations. When you keep paper on the table and you open the window, any breeze that comes in can take the paper in all directions. But if you put a paperweight on top, now the paper can go even amidst a tornado. It won't move. So because Krishna as the big paperweight, the weight is there in the heart of the living entity. However the breeze of temptations come, the person, the spiritual master, doesn't get deviated, doesn't get distracted. Haridas Thakur was so heavy in his approach, which means by the weight of Krishna's presence, on the power of his chanting, of course, and his devotion, even when the breeze of the prostitute came in, Haridas Thakur did not fly away in temptations. On the other hand, Haridas Thakur was so powerful, he could add weight to the breeze and make the prostitute Krishna conscious. So here it is described by studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. If you make Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam your life, then Krishna makes you his life. And that has been described over and over again. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam pramanam amalam prema pumartho mahan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself mentions that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the strength and the weakness of my heart. It is my strength. Why? Because all Siddhanta is there in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Everything can be established. But at the same time, it is the weakness of Mahaprabhu's heart, because anyone and everyone reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Mahaprabhu gets attracted and he goes and embraces the person. Devotee was reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Mahaprabhu started weeping in ecstasy and he embraced him and he said, from today you will be called as the Bhagavatacharya because you are studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Maharaj Prataparudra was not given darshan even after repeated endeavor. But when he started singing the verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Mahaprabhu embraced Maharaj Prataparudra and accepted him as one of his own associates. Raja kahe ami tomar daser anudas, brittera britya karo ei muras. Mahaprabhu asked him, who are you? You are giving me Krishna Katha. And Maharaj Prataparudra said, I am actually the servant of your servant, but you are not accepting that. Please accept it. Please give me the service at your lotus feet. Similarly, we see with Gadadhar Pandit at Tota Gopinath, Mahaprabhu loved discussing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Even when Mahaprabhu discussed with Rupa Goswami, it is described Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Pranta, Sabha Shikhaila Prabhu, Bhagavata Siddhanta. Mahaprabhu taught all the tattvas, all the philosophical conclusions to Rupa Goswami, keeping Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as the center of his conversation. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the heartbeat of the Vaishnavas. Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is dear to the Vaishnavas, and not just the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, all four categories or sampradayas, and even beyond. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is very dear to the Vaishnavas. So we can ask ourselves a question. To the extent we are attached to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, to that extent true Vaishnavism is manifesting in our heart. Or to the extent we claim to be pure or true Vaishnavas. I hope we don't claim to be pure Vaishnavas, but at least we hope to walk on the path of true Vaishnavism. To that extent, automatically the love of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should rise in our heart. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should become part of our conversations. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should be part of our meditation. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should be, the verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should dance on the tongue for anything that we say. And even when we go for a walk or travel and we see things around, the srishti that we see should be based on the drishti that we receive from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Srishti and drishti. Very poetic. It's a poetic pair. Srishti means the world around us, and drishti means the vision. The vision that we have of the world around us depends on the vision that we take from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. To the extent we study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we will see the things around us through the eyes of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And to the extent we don't study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the things around us will not be as they are, but as we are, depending on how much lust, anger, greed, etc. The curtains of our own illusion is what will show us the so-called reality around. Let's continue. Then the Shastra says, Kim shrutaihi bahubhi bhashaihi shastraihi puranaischa brahmavahai ekam bhagavatam shastram mukti danena garjati. That what is the need to study and hear so many books? Some people we can see that they study a little bit of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, then study a little bit of Yoga Vasishtha, then study a little bit of this Puran, and then study a little bit of this Veda, which is wonderful. But we see that the consciousness and the endeavors and the time and energy is all bifurcated and divided. And we know our time is limited. And if we don't know that, at least we know our interest is limited. Even if we have all day, because we have lack of taste, the drive is not there. So instead of putting $5 in 10 pots, we can put all of them in one pot and carry that pot with us, and that is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Instead of putting all our energy in different books and hearing different speakers and different discourses, we should make it a point. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam. Just like Shripad Adi Shankaracharya mentions, one scripture in the form of the Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, we should make a point. One Shastra, Ekam Bhagavatam Shastram. Just one scripture. We study that scripture very well. For those of us who haven't studied the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, please make that as your aim in life. You can put yourself New Year resolution goals, no doubt about it. But my point is you don't have to wait till the 1st of January. 10th of September is a great day. It's Bhadra Purnima. So every day is a wonderful day actually. For those who study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, every sunrise and every sunset only takes them one day close back home, back to the lotus feet of Radha Shyam Sundar. So the sunrise and sunset is not actually taking one day away from our life. If we study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it's actually taking closer and closer and closer and closer to the direct darshan of Radha and Krishna's lotus feet. Imagine how wonderful and pleasing that is. Death is not painful. Death is simply a door that opens into the spiritual world. So for those who don't have a post-death plan, then death is the end all. Oh, I'm going to lose everything that I have collected. I am going to lose my body. I'm going to lose my home, my possessions, my relatives, my money, everything. But for those who are waiting to see Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world, every day that's taken away, it's actually taking them closer and closer and closer and closer to the opening of the doors and at the time of death, to the eternal realm of joy and service, eternal service. So, Kim Shrutaihi Bahubi Shastraihi. What is the need for studying anything else? We should make this resolution that I will hear and study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And whatever I'm studying and whatever I'm hearing and whatever I'm contemplating is what I'm going to share. So make study circles. Bring in Bhagavatam in the lives of millions. Two things are needed in this world. Distribution of the book Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and second, distribution of the content of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So first is book distribution and the second is preaching the content. And book distribution is going on, firing all cylinders. Everywhere in great enthusiasm, the books are going. Now all of us should also hold hands, team together to not just take the books from home to home, but also make endeavors to take the content of the book home to home. Making study circles, smaller groups. It could be 3 devotees. We don't even have to target 10 devotees, 3 devotees, 2 devotees, 4 devotees. Get together as best friends. Get on a Zoom call. Discuss whatever you have read that day. It doesn't even have to be 1 hour or 30 minutes. It could just be 15 minutes. Take those small steps. You see, take those small steps and you will succeed. I know I'm giving a cricketing example, but it's to make a point. So I hope you will forgive me for that deviation. I was very fascinated by cricket, as most Indians are. That's like the sport, the to-go sport, as I grew up with. So there were 2 cricketing batsmen that I was very inspired by, and they have opposite natures. One is Virendra Sehwag, who opened up the batting for India, whose style of batting was explosive, less number of balls and more number of sixes, right? Getting more runs in less number of balls, but unpredictable. Sometimes it's 100, sometimes it's a 30, sometimes it's a 50. That's the first one. The second was Rahul Dravid, whom I admired for his determination, and he was the exact opposite. He would have like 100 balls, but maybe 12 runs, 15 runs, and he would often be called as the wall, because whenever India needed, he would be like the anchor there, just staying there for hours and hours. So why am I mentioning this? Although it seems that Virender Sehwag was explosive and naturally he would have more runs and seems like a better average because he's always hitting more runs and more explosive, and it would seem as if Rahul Dravid would not have that good an average because he's scoring less and taking more balls. If you actually see, according to the statistics, at the end of their career, Rahul Dravid fared, as far as average is concerned, much higher than Virender Sehwag. Why am I saying this? I am saying this because sometimes we get into the Virender Sehwag kind of approach where I feel inspired to study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and I'm going to go like 2 chapters a day. And you do that for like 1 week, and then for the next 3 months, tata bye-bye. Bye-bye Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, I will see you after 2 months, right? That's like the Virender Sehwag approach. But then there's like the Rahul Dravid approach, where you may not be doing so much every day, but you just be consistent in doing it. Let's say you do 1 page a day, or let's say you do 1 verse a day, depending on your capacity, right? Depending on your capacity. Or you say, let's say, I'm just going to do 3 verses every day. You will see, just by that little increment, just by that little hard work, just by that little endeavor, that I am going to do only so much. Because the mind, if you tell the mind, I'm going to do 2 chapters a day, it does it for a few days, but then when the schedule gets difficult, study and timelines and duties and responsibilities, 2 chapters a day, too much, I can't do this. 1 chapter, too much, I can't do this. But just keep a goal which is very simple. Like the mind doesn't have to think whether or not to do it. 1 page, 2 pages. So much so that even if it's 11 o'clock at night, your mind will still say, yeah, I am sleepy, but I can still do it. Keep that smaller goal. And if you go that approach, you may think, wait a minute, if I do 2 chapters a day, the Virender Sehwag approach, I think I will finish Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam faster. And if I go 1 page a day, I don't know when I will finish. The mind will say that. But trust me, by averages, you can see the Rahul Dravid approach gives you a better average. So even let's say you study for 10 years, you can see 1 page a day for 10 years will give you more reading than just explosive reading in bursts of enthusiasm, and then there's no mood, and then I don't read, and then I feel inspired, then I read. Instead of that, even if it's 1 page, these small bits and pieces bring in better average. Let's give another example. Let's say you have 2 ladders, okay? You have 2 ladders. There's 1 ladder here and there's another one here. Both start at the same place, end at the same place, okay? They have the same length. But the first one has less number of ranks and more distance between them. So you just have to climb 10 ranks and you get the fruit. And in the second one, let's say you have to climb 50 because the distance between the ranks are so small. Trust me, although this is only 10 ranks that you have to climb, because the distance is too much between the ranks, we may climb 5 and may think, well, it's getting too much. But because you have 50 here, the mind will say it's too much. But because the gap between the ranks is so small, the mind will never think whether or not to take another step. So you will just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And trust me, you will reach there by those little increments. So our reading process is like that. It's like those little steps. 1 page a day will make you a sage. Page by page, become a sage. Before you age, escape the cage, right? We want to escape the cage before we age by becoming a sage, page by page. So this is how exciting it is. We want to make Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam study the backbone of our spiritual life. Think about it. Dear devotees, just contemplate and think about it. Many of us take vows of chanting 16 rounds and even get initiated, and we do that all our life. Now don't ask about the quality, we somehow get done, right? We get it done. We chant our rounds. We observe festivals, we go for Mangalarati, we honor Prasadam, we do everything. But what differentiates a fixed up devotee from someone who doesn't have taste? It is only one thing, and that is reading of Srila Prabhupada's books. Those who study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, those who study Srila Prabhupada's books are philosophically more grounded. Because we don't take a vow about our reading, we neglect it. But you'll see those who read on a daily basis, they are fixed up. And not just fixed up, they're advancing with time. And those who don't read, those who don't take that nourishment for the soul through the study of Srila Prabhupada's books, then they hear that nourishment. Not nourishment, I'm being sarcastic, but nourishment for the false ego by hearing topics of this world. And naturally they get distracted. Then it's sports and politics and so many other things. Discussing the faults of others and so many other things. So those things take our interests away. So we want to feed in reading of Srila Prabhupada's books like Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam on a daily basis. And so many acharyas did that. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he would get a headache if he doesn't get a chance to speak Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Literally get a headache. And it's not some pain medicine that'll help him as a painkiller. For him, the painkiller was Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So you bring Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to him and bring some devotees, and he will speak for 3-4 hours, and then he feels good. So many Vaishnavas. Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj would read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam before Mangalarati. He would say that before Mangalarati, the mind is fresh. So he would wake up, chant his rounds, read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, all of this before 4:30. Can you imagine? You will not be sleepy at Mangalarati then. Then you see the deities on the basis of your chanting and on the basis of your reading. And then if you have spent so much time before Mangalarati, then you can chant one more set of 16 with all the devotees after Mangalarati. So it's very nourishing for the soul. Very, very nourishing. So here it is said, Kim Shrutaihi Bahubi Shastraihi. No need to read and get information from different books. Just be one-pointed. Let's just be chaste and loyal to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And then what happens if Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is studied like that? Mukti danena garjati. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam roars with the gift of liberation from this material world. Katha bhagavatasyapi nityam bhavati yad grihe. In that home where Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is studied and spoken every day, tat griham tirtha rupam hi. That home is a pastime place, is a pilgrimage. So you don't have to go and find the dham. The dham comes finding you if you just study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Vasatam papanashanam. That place becomes the resting place of all piety. Just by living in that home, all sins run away. Ashwamedha sahasrani vajapeya shatani cha shukha shastra kathayascha kalam narhanti shodashim. When someone says then, well, what about other processes? How about the fire sacrifices? How about the Ashwamedha, Rajasuya, Vajapeya, all these different names of fire sacrifices given in the scriptures? Can I perform all that? Then the answer given is, yes, you can, but when you perform all of them, the piety that you receive, the spiritual advancement that you receive is not even 1/16th of the glory and the advancement that one receives in the heart by Shukha Shastra Kathayascha Kalam Narhanti Shodashim. Shodashim means 1/16th. One will not receive even 1/16th the credit one receives by speaking Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And one who wants to study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it's not that one has to finish so much every day. Shlokardham, half a shloka. Shloka padam va, 1/4 a shloka. Pathet bhagavatam chayaha, he who reads Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, nityam punyam avapnoti rajasuyashvameda yoho. Oh, he's only collecting more and more spiritual advancement. Just by reading these verses, dear devotees. It's not that we have to learn it professionally. Many of us may have studied Hindi or Sanskrit or Marathi. So you can read the syllables, the verses in Sanskrit. They are very powerful. And for those who can't, many of us who can't, Prabhupada has translated that in English with the right diacritic marks. So we still can read it. Reading the verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is very, very, very important. Even let's say we say, well, but I don't understand these verses. Doesn't matter. When we take a pill, we don't know what the contents are, but we trust that when it goes inside, it'll work. Right? When we are honoring prasad, we don't think much about what the ingredients are. Maybe some of us do. At least I don't. I see prasadam, I see my mouth, I see my fingers. That's it. That's it. Now just attack, jump and conquer, divide and rule, right? And I know many of our friends will be on that camp also. And that's fine. We start off, Sevan mukhe hi jivha dao swayameva spuratyata. Prabhupada said, honor Krishna Prasad and chant the holy name. We are going back to Godhead. So we are on that path of mercy. So the point is, many of us, when we are honoring prasadam, we don't think much about what the contents are. But we just know by honoring, we feel the hunger will go away and we feel satisfaction and the body gets nourished. So similarly, these verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam are like that. Even if we don't explicitly understand, the word-to-word meaning is a good way to study. And trust me, just by studying the words of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam word by word, by how Prabhupada breaks it and gives it, you read from 1st canto to 12th canto, you'll be amazed by how much Sanskrit you learn, just how many words you learn, because they repeat themselves. And then the next time you read, it's nice. You can predict, oh yes, I think I had read this verse before, and I remember this word. So it takes little hard work, little patience, but the fruit is very rewarding and very pleasing. So we have the word to word to understand the words, we have the general translation, we have Prabhupada's input, and then we have the ways of singing those verses. Sit in front of Mahaprabhu. Literally I'm saying, sit in front of Mahaprabhu and chant these Sanskrit verses. Just take a chapter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and just read the Sanskrit verses one after another. And trust me, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knows the meaning, he relishes the meaning, he can even interpret and comment on those meanings. And we simply as humble servants, we are reading those verses for the pleasure of our Mahaprabhu. What do I want in return? I don't want anything. I just want my Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to smile at me and embrace me if possible, just by his emblem back to God. Simple. Just please Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by reading the Sanskrit verses. We may not understand it. We may not claim to be perfect pronouncers of those verses. Make an attempt. Because fortune is reigning in our generation. We have the books printed. We have teachers who teach it. We have forums where it is taught. We have study circles where it is read. We have those books accessible. We have the time, we have the energy, we have the eyes, the vision, and we have learnt English or Sanskrit or Hindi so that we can read these texts. Let's take the best use of the opportunity that we have. So, Nityam Punyam Avapnoti Rajasuya Shvamedayoho. That by studying these verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, one makes rapid spiritual advancement. Uktam Bhagavatam Nityam Kritam Cha Harichintanam Tulasi Poshanam Chaiva Dhenunam Sevanam Samam. Uktam Bhagavatam Nityam. If somebody reads these verses every day and Kritam Cha Harichintanam and contemplates on the meaning and remembers, makes an endeavor to remember Krishna, then what happens? Tulasi Poshanam Chaiva Dhenunam Sevanam Samam. One gets the credit of worshipping Tulsi and serving the cows. Just by studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. But however, some people ask this question that what are some ways I can study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Is it only reading? Then the verse comes in to help us. Teneyam Vangmayi Murtihi. This Vangmayi Murti, sound vibration, Pratyaksha Vartate Harehe. This is the direct manifestation of Shri Hari. As we hear, the first 2 cantos are the lotus feet and the 10th canto is the smiling face. That is so true. How do you serve such a manifestation of Krishna? Like we know when Krishna appears as the deity, you honor, you not honor, yeah, you honor prasad, sure, but you offer bhoga first, make it into prasad, and then you honor it. You circumambulate the deity, you bathe him, you change his dress, you ornament him, right? You offer patram pushpam phalam toyam, so many things. You can circumambulate, offer obeisances. That's how you worship Krishna when he comes as a deity. How do you worship Krishna when he comes as sound vibration? Just by uttering the syllables, by chanting the sound. Then how do you worship Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam when Krishna appears in the form of the transcendental sound vibration of the book? Teneyam vangmayi murti pratyaksha vartate harehe sevanat, shravanat, pathat, darshanat, papanashini. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam destroys all sins if you just read those verses. How much more when you memorize them? How much more when you think about them? How much more when you live lives according to them? How much more when you share this nectar around? So by hearing, reading, chanting, contemplating, or just looking at these verses, just like Prabhupada said, if anybody touches the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, their life will change. So true. So true. Because when you touch something, the curiosity always kills the cat. So the curiosity cat inside us will see, well, what book is this? And you'll flip a few pages, you'll see something. You'll associate with the devotees, you will see, oh, the person who gave me the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam with a kanti and a tilak was a nice person. I just need to seek out where these nice people are. And then that is change of destiny. Hema simha yutam chaitat vaishnavaya dadati cha krishnena sahasayujyam sapuman labhate dhruvam. If someone gives Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in charity to those who are interested, krishnena sahasayujyam sapuman labhate dhruvam, that person attains liberation and attains the sanidhya, which means the physical proximity, the association of Krishna's lotus feet. And this is guaranteed. Even after understanding so much, if someone doesn't study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, what happens? Tavat papani dehesmin nivasanti tapodhana yavat na shruyate samyak Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam naraihi. If someone, even after hearing all this, doesn't develop faith in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, then all sins reside in his body. It's not a derogatory statement. It means that, yes, there are sins which are stopping one from taking that step of studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So what's the way? Just cry for help. Take those little steps. I'm not saying to remember Rahul Dravid, but remember the example. That take those little steps and be consistent. The average will be better. Remember the example of the two ladders. The shorter the distance between the ranks, the more confidently we can progress. We must understand that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is certainly a great gift in our life. Therefore, it is described that etasmat aparam kinchid mana shuddhyet na vidyate janmantare kritam punyam tada bhagavatam labhet. Only when one has performed bhakti in the past, worshipped Krishna in the past, janmantare kritam punyam, not one life, when one over lifetimes has worshipped Shri Hari, tada bhagavatam labhet, then Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam appears in our life. We are not talking about the person starts reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. One gets the chance of receiving Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Janmantare kritam punyam tada bhagavatam labhet. This is the tagline of today's class. That only after amassing, accumulating spiritual pious credits over lifetimes does Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam get ready to come in our lives. Now our question is, have we performed bhakti over lifetimes? The answer is no. Then how did Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam come in our lives? This is called mercy. This is called kripa. When Srila Prabhupada was asked, Srila Prabhupada said, when Prabhupada was asked, what have we done in our past lives to have a guru like you? What piety have we done? Srila Prabhupada was very honest yet humble. Srila Prabhupada said, you had no good fortune. I made your good fortune. So in this way, we want to credit our superiors, our Gurujan, for bringing in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in our lives. It's like, those ants which are on the floor, which can never climb a tree and break through the peel and drink the pulp of the mango. It's not possible. But all glories to the parrot Now I am playing with the word parrot on purpose because we know shuka means parrot. So when a parrot puts its beak, lotus lips, into the fruit, mango, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, on the tree of Vedic knowledge, then by the beak of the parrot inside, nectar from the mango drips down the trunk of the parampara and comes on the floor of Kali Yuga for the ants like us who don't have an access there, because janmantari kritam punyam tada bhagavatam labhet. So therefore we should take this opportunity, and it is described, durlabhaiva katha loke Śrīmad-Bhāgavatodbhava koti janma samuthena punyena evatu labhyate. Over so many lifetimes, koti janma samuthena punyena evatu labhyate, that over hundreds and thousands and millions of lives of piety collected by a living entity, one gets the chance of accessing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Therefore, dinanam niyamo nasti. There is no rule which day you should read and which day you should not read. Sarvada shravanam matam. Take advantage. Krishna has given us years. We were celebrating Ananta Chaturdashi yesterday, the disappearance of Haridas Thakur. That's the day where our beloved Lord Ganesha goes back. Right? Lord Ganesha teaches us this. Hide your mouth through the trunk and keep your ears, big ears open. Which means in the assembly of great Vaishnavas, we should not be very enthusiastic to speak and show how much we know. We hide our mouth like Lord Ganesha does. And when the Vaishnava starts speaking, we expand our ears and we open and hear. And even better, we break one of our tusks and start writing and taking notes. And at the end of the program, when there's lots of prasad, we eat our way, pot belly. So Gajendra teaches us, if we follow this program that Prabhupada gave us, then even Lord Shiva will be enthusiastic to keep you on his lap, as Gajendra has, right? Gajendra here means not Gajendra, but the best among elephants, that is Lord Ganesha. So therefore, dear devotees, one last verse before we wrap up. We should hear and study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to such an extent that antakale tu yena iva shruyate shukha shastravak pritya tasyaiva vaikuntham govindopi prayachati. That if someone studies Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and even at the time of departure is hearing Krishna Katha, shruyate shukha shastravak, the words of Shukha Dev Goswami, shruyate is heard, Pritya tasyaiva vaikuntham govindopi prayachati. He develops love for Krishna, and on the power of that love goes back to Vaikuntha. So, or here Vaikuntha means the destination. Vigata kunthat yasmat. That place from where there is, or that place which is devoid of any distress is called Vaikuntha. So Ayodhya, Dwarka, and our abode, Sri Vrindavan Dham, Goloka Vrindavan, this is all Vaikuntha. So by studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, this is what we attain. This is the great benediction that we will receive by studying, reading, distributing, and contemplating on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So, with that as our introduction, dear devotees, we want to mention Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam has 12 volumes. The 10th volume is considered to be the smiling face of Krishna, and it has beautiful pastimes in the 10th canto. And especially the first 40 chapters describe Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. And in that, the first few chapters we can see describes Krishna killing many demons. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Chaitanya Shikshamrita, he explains that the study of Krishna Leela, especially those sections where Krishna kills demons, is highly beneficial for sadhakas. Because as Krishna is destroying the demons, Krishna in the form of Krishna Katha enters our heart and kills that mentality that demon exemplified. So let's say if Krishna is killing Putana, Putana represents a certain negative emotion. So that negative emotion is still there in our heart. So Putana may be killed, but the Putana mentality is still alive. So Krishna kills Putana, but Krishna Katha kills and destroys the Putana mentality in the Vrindavan of our heart. So therefore, next 30 days, we will hear the verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from the 6th chapter of the 10th canto. We will discuss the pastime of Putana, Krishna willing, verse by verse. Srila Prabhupada's purports will be our backbone in the discussion, and we will also hear what our predecessor acharyas and the present acharyas have commented on this section, what practical lessons we can learn from this section, and how we can pray to Krishna to destroy the Putana in us. So what we will be doing is, this chapter is very big. It has 44 verses, I believe. So what we will be doing is, we will be chanting 22 verses every day, just like we were doing for Venugit. We will be starting our discussion by chanting the first 22 verses, and we will go half the katha with that, and the next half of the katha we will chant from 23 to 44, the next half. So in this way, what will happen is, the verses of this chapter, we will get familiarized with how to chant them. Also, the verses are smaller. Some are little big, but compared to Venugit, the verses are shorter. So we will be able to chant those verses in the first few minutes of our katha. And then we will start with our discussion. So much more, but this being our introduction and our, let's say, jump start, we all would have been wanting to have forums where we can study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So today's discussion is simply a jump start on the auspicious day of Bhadra Purnima to inspire all of us, starting with myself, on the basis of these verses from Shastra, how Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam can be the heartbeat of our life. Thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, at our Zoom temple, keeping Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as the center of our lives. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.